Hey guys, welcome back. Dynasty Football Live, baby. Hey, today we're going to continue our series on the AFC. It's AFC North time, baby. It's one of the biggest and baddest divisions in football, and we're gonna let you know how we think they stack up at the end of the year. This division is loaded with talent, baby. I mean, top to bottom, you really can't go wrong. You really don't know who the king is, even though I do, and obviously Manny does. But we're gonna break it down for you today. We're gonna be going over the AFC North. It's big dog time, and we're ready to eat. And who you gonna take here at the bottom? We're gonna start at the bottom and work our way up like we've been doing for the AFC North.
Well, man, this is gonna be interesting. I've been thinking about this for a while. And like you said, man, this is one of the toughest divisions. And I think for me, this might be the division in the AFC where we'll have possibly 3 teams in the playoffs. Wow. And the 4th team is going to be really, really close for me.
Wow.
So we'll see. So let's go ahead and get started. You may not agree with this one. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now. But I think the team that has the most questions, unanswered questions, definitely have a lot of potential, just more unanswered questions than the other teams. For me, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Ooh.
I know it's tough. I feel like all of these could win easily the division, but I think for me with Kenny Pickett being, kind of the, obviously going into the second year, we saw some growing pains last year, like the last one. So yeah, obviously we saw some growing pains here with Pickett. Najee Harris was kind of struggling a little bit. He wasn't exactly what he was his rookie year. The line was just awful. A lot of injuries in the offensive line. Either that or just not a lot of talent at the offensive line position. But I think they're set up for success going forward, though. I think, if Pickett is who, if he turns out to be who the Steelers wanted him to be, picking him in the first round, sky's the limit. Najee Harris, extremely talented, obviously already 25, but I think, if we're looking short term in the next couple of years, these guys could be contending for the top of the division for sure. With the talent they have. They have extremely dangerous wide receivers. Deontay Johnson is the kind of the vet of the group. Well, I guess Allen Robinson, but Allen is new to the team. So for me, Deontay Johnson is kind of the vet of the group as far as the Steelers organization. They have Pickens. Obviously, Calvin Austin has been kind of making some noise kind of lately in OTAs. And a little bit last year, so as far as wide receivers, they probably have one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. Maybe not one of the best, but I think they have the potential to be one of the best, if not this year, the next 2 or 3 years for sure. With the talent they have, obviously Pickens there, Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. And let's not forget Connor Hayward. I think he made kind of a splash last year in a couple of instances, didn't get a lot of chances, but I think he's not really exactly a tight end per se, even though that's the position they have listed him here. He's more of an H-back, fullback combo kind of situation, fullback tight end. All 3 of those guys, extremely athletic, extremely productive, capable players that I think I'm not changing my mind, I promise. I know it's a lot of good things to say about the Steelers, but I think the division is just so close that for me, the Steelers are just not going to be there. They might be last, and maybe I'm surprised. I mean, the Browns are the Browns, so the Browns could pull a Brown out of the hat, but I think their defense with TJ Watt being healthy again, I don't know how to say it. Landon Roberts? Landon Roberts. Anyways, Roberts, a veteran presence out of the University of Houston. Played for the Dolphins a couple of years ago, I believe. Micah Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr. Now they also have Peterson as a veteran presence in that cornerback room. They have a lot of pieces that could be, very, very capable of not finishing last. I just think they have the most questions. If the Ravens hadn't signed, OBJ and Lamar, I think obviously that I'd be changing my tune right now. But I think for me, the Steelers are going to be last in the division.
All right. I'm not going to agree with you here.
Hey, we don't have to agree. That's fine.
We don't. We don't. This is part of why we do rankings. So, and I don't. I'm not discrediting your take at all. I think it's a great take. I think that the Steelers could very well end up at the bottom. I don't think it's going to happen. I think Mike Tomlin is that kind of coach that demands somehow. They were one game away last year from going to the playoffs. One game. They lost their last game, and which is going to bring me to my next point. The Cleveland Browns are going to be last in this division. They continue their suckiness here with this franchise. Watson's looked great this offseason, though. I want to say that. I want to say that he's looked very, very scary, like the Deshaun we saw back with the Texans. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of stuff coming out of OTAs, just threading the needle. Dude loves Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
So if you're an Elijah Moore fan or Elijah Moore owner, congrats on you, because I think he's going to have a big year. For me, the Browns just don't have the firepower to hang with the Steelers. When we talk about how these teams stack up, Deshaun Watson over Kenny Pickett, right? Okay, cool. Kenny Pickett, believe it or not, ended up, with a great record the last 5 games of the season. And I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year. I don't think he's Deshaun Watson good, but I think he can hang with Deshaun Watson. And I think that defense can hang with Deshaun Watson. So we'll see what's up. So Nick Chubb, Jerome Ford, they lost Kareem Hunt. That might be a little bit of a blow. Now they're going to really put a lot on Chubb's shoulders, okay? Mm-hmm. Jerome Ford's coming in. I do not discredit Jerome Ford. I think he's going to be good. Nice, fresh legs back there. I think he can hang. Now let's go down to the real deal. Let's go down to the wide receivers of the Cleveland Browns. Man, you got Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Peoples-Jones, David Bell, and Cedric Tillman. What a crop. What a wide receiver room, man. This could be a sneaky good wide receiver court, man, coming in. So I'm liking them. However, Deshaun Watson needs to prove to me that he's the Deshaun Watson of the old before I invest in him in this season. Because Deshaun Watson last year, man, what the hell happened? Did not look good to me at all. I mean, for me, I didn't see him complete any really like crazy deep downfield passes. I saw a bunch of dump offs, a bunch of running for his life. I didn't see the Deshaun Watson that was so electric with the Texans and at Clemson. I didn't see that last year. So prove me wrong. And until you do, you're sitting at last place in the NFC North. And that's because the Steelers are always so dominant on defense. They are dominant. So I'm going to leave y'all at the bottom until you prove me wrong.
All right. Man, this is a tough division. This is a tough division to pick. I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if they're all have winning records or, at least 500 or more. It's going to be tough. I think it's going to be really, really close. And I think at the end of the day, we might both, be right. Maybe they're a game apart. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think for me next, and I think, honestly, all these could flip-flop. And I hate to say it because it's kind of unknown, but I think my take right now, as of right now, I feel like Man,
Don't you do
I
it.
feel
Don't do it.
I feel like the I feel like the Ravens are gonna finish third, dude.
Oh my
I feel like the Ravens are gonna finish third. I might
Oh,
I
we're
might end
definitely
up.
we're definitely clipping you on this one, boy. We're clipping the shit out of you on this one.
Even though the Ravens do have a lot of their question marks answered, with getting Lamar Jackson back, J.K. Dobbins hopefully healthy again for a full season, kind of like the actual J.K. Dobbins, not what we saw last year. Obviously, they have OBJ now, Zay Flowers, Bateman. They have a pretty good receiving core. I think obviously tight end, you can't, Mark Andrews is, one of the elite tight ends in the league, and they have Likely, who showed a lot last year, and Kolar, let's not forget about him. Even though he didn't get a lot of play time, he was elite at Iowa State. I really like this team. I think the issue I have is exactly what's going to happen with the offense. Last couple of years, obviously last year Lamar was hurt. He was also, in the whole contract situation. A lot of pressure for sure on him, to kind of either sign the deal or, whatever. And, he was kind of taking care of his body. He ended up getting hurt. But I think even though I have high hopes for him and this new offense, of it being more of a balanced attack, and just being a little more and a little more than just an RPO machine. I think there's going to be some growing pains with the new offense. I think the defense, I mean, it's always been pretty good, with the Ravens, but man, I know people may laugh at me, but I think, and I'm not saying they're gonna completely suck. Like I said, I honestly think every single team in this division can be 500 or above. Like, honestly, that's how good it is. Let's not forget they got David Ojabo last year out of Michigan. Towards Achilles during the pre-draft process. He fell into the draft. He was a number one for first round projected draft pick. They got him in the second or third, I think. So let's remember that kind of elite talent that's finally healthy after a year away from football. I don't know if he's actually going to start right away or if they're going to bring him slow, but he's definitely healthy, and that's essentially a first round pick in addition to whatever they got last or this year. Roquan Smith and Patrick Quinn, one of the most elite, electrifying linebackers in this league. And let's not forget Trenton Simpson, who was, I mean, just look at it. It looks like a Madden team.
I think what you're doing is you're putting your foot in your mouth right now.
No. I like I said, I think the division is super close to call. I think any of these teams could end up being the division winners. I just have a little more, and I mean, I know it's kind of a gamble to believe on Deshaun Watson, but he's looked really good. Their weapons look really good. I'm not going to talk too much about them because I'm going to talk about them later, but I just think even though the Ravens could end up being second or even first in this division, I think for me, when it's all said and done, close, but Ravens are going to be third in the division. I know. Man. The hot take.
That's some hot takes right there today. Boy, we're on fire, man. God damn. Hey, I like it though. You never know, man. It very well could end up being like that. Like you said, are one injury away from being in trouble on offense. I feel like J.K. Dobbins is suspect to get injured with that knee. And I also feel like OBJ is suspect to get injured with his knee. However, elite quarterback play always rises to the top. Like we said, the cream always rises to the top. And you're looking at Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, two top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's why you pay these guys what you pay them, because they put you at the forefront of your division. So for me, with that being said, I'm going off quarterbacks, and I'm going off of healthy quarterbacks. I'm going Steelers right here in third. Kenny Pickett, there is a there's a saying, okay, and it's called too much sauce. And Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow are way too much sauce for any of these teams to handle, bro. Like I'm telling you right now, like you're talking about two top five dynasty football quarterbacks here, and they're there for a reason. For me, Kenny Pickett's got he's got the supporting cast, but he does not have the legs of Lamar Jackson, nor does he have the arm of Joe Burrow. So, fortunately, Kenny Pickett, you might make the playoffs this year if you get your shit together and stop throwing crazy interceptions. Is because you want to be, out there throwing deep balls to Pickens or Deontay Johnson. But yeah, let's look at the Steelers here, man. Kenny Pickett did very well to finish the season last year. Najee Harris, all-world Najee Harris. I think he has a bounce-back year. Deontay Johnson, don't know why they have him as wide receiver one. I'm not going to be on the bandwagon of all these other like fantasy pros and dynasty nerds, all these cats screaming, jumping through the roof for Deontay Johnson. I don't see the love. I think he's a good wide receiver, but let's be honest, man. Pickens has the talent. Pickens is an alpha. He has shown that he's the alpha here. Pickens is the wide receiver one there. So Allen Robinson coming in, Calvin Austin, like you said, really good. Can't believe they picked up Des Fitzpatrick. What a little get there at the end. Pat Freiermuth and Darnell Washington. What a tight end duo that is. Okay. That's really scary running down the middle of the field if they line up in double tight end sets. So yeah, man, defense real quick. I'll scan over this, and then we'll get to our second place guys for each one of us, and then we'll keep going. All right, so TJ Watt, probably the best outside linebacker other than Micah Parsons in the entire NFL. Don't see how you don't put him in the conversation as the best linebacker. Cameron Hayward has never missed a beat. He is just a solid brick wall of a human being, just dominant. Reminds me of the old Steelers guys, like the Mean Joe Greens, like just all world, like true gridiron superstar. A lot of someone you didn't mention, and this is a team that desperately needed cornerback help last year, defensive back help. They got Joey Porter Jr. That cat's been making some noise this offseason, and he ain't tiny, man. He's pretty good. So give him some love with Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end there. I like what the Steelers got. I just say the Ravens are too much sauce, man. If they stay healthy, they're way too much sauce, and the legs beat them, man, every time. Lamar Jackson I don't know. He's got a new contract. Something about that says, hey, you forgot about the MVP Lamar Jackson, and I think he's coming back this year to remind folks who Lamar Jackson really is.
All right. That was good, man. That was good. Agree to disagree.
Hey, I love it, man. I love to see the rankings like this. That not everybody thinks the same, and that's why we revisit these things at the end of the year so we can see, hey, man, you weren't lying. You actually called it how it was. So that's my true heart talking there. So
yeah, of course. I think for me, number two, and again, I'm not trying to backpedal in my prediction here. I think this whole division is really close, and at the end of the day, 2 and 3, or even 4 could flip. But for me right now, Browns number 2. I have too much firepower when it comes to the offensive side of the ball. I think obviously what we saw last year from Watson, and you kind of brought it up. We didn't see the same Deshaun Watson, but he hadn't played in almost 2 years.
Yeah.
So I think towards the end of the season, we kind of saw glimpses of him. Like you said, not a lot of passes downfield, but we did see some glimpses of the old Deshaun Watson. Not a lot of running, which we saw a lot from him, earlier with the Texans. But I think Deshaun Watson, based on what we've seen in OTAs, based on what we've seen, with his weapons that he has now, I mean, I think he has one of the deepest wide receiver rooms. Like any quarter would be lucky to have this wide receiver room, even though they don't have like a, elite, like imagine they don't have a Jefferson, obviously. They don't have a Jefferson in this team, but they have a lot of, Cooper is definitely a top 10, top 15 wide receiver, even though people kind of forget about him. I love the wide receiver room. Chubb is Chubb. I think Ford and Felton are good complementary backs to Chubb, considering what Chubb does best, which is run the ball. And I guess I'm putting all my eggs in the Deshaun Watson basket. And I think, with him kind of taking that step forward, going back to what he was with the Texans, and maybe a little bit better because he's, when you don't play football, you watch a lot more film, you do a lot of film study, you kind of get better up here, which is what the quarterback position is all about. You kind of slow down the game when you kind of read differently, make better decisions. So I know it sounds weird, Browns number 2, but I think offensively, I'm putting all my eggs in the Deshaun basket or Deshaun Watson basket, and I think we're going to see what he was previously, if not better than what he was with the Texans. Still only 20. Defensively is kind of where I think they kind of take a step forward. I think, obviously they have Myles Garrett. Zadarius Smith, just got traded from the Vikings. I think he's elite. Him and Myles Garrett together, that's a scary combination. I think a player that was very underrated last year, let's see if I can actually say his name, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think that sounded good. Him and Anthony Walker were very, very good last year. I think Owusu-Koramoah was a little bit underrated. I don't think people quite knew much about him or thought or had high expectations for him, but I think he really showed out last year. And I think obviously Denzel Ward and Delpit are 2 of the top secondary players in the league. I just think their defense is I'm not going to say elite. They definitely have potential with the 2 pass rushers. But I think their offense is going to be very, very, very scary. Man, if Deshaun Watson just falls flat in his face, then people laugh at me because I picked him second. But I really like the Browns to be second overall.
Hey, man. Hey, I like it. You stay true to you. I'm going to stay true to me. And like I said, not a bad pick there. I think if Deshaun Watson comes back and he is what he was traded for to be with all them picks to the Texans. Thanks, Browns. Appreciate that one. Bailed us out there on that one. I think you're right. I think that they could very easily be here sitting at second with that defense and the wide receiver room and the running back and the quarterback. All looks good on paper. We just gotta get Deshaun back to being his old self. Obviously, where my second place is going with the Ravens here. Again, I just feel like Lamar Jackson is too much sauce for Pickett and Watson. I mean, I think they're better. I think they're better. So I'm gonna jump up to my league winner here. Hey, all you cool cats and kittens, we're going back to the king, and there's only one in this division, and that's Mr. Joe Burrow himself, the Tiger King. There's no introduction that needs to be made. This team has been they were right there with the Chiefs last year. It could have went either way. Again, Mahomes got him this time. It is what it is. Hey, Burrow hasn't forgotten that, and I don't think Cincinnati has forgotten that, and they want to get back to where they were last year. So, without a doubt, there ain't no doubt in my mind, it's the Cincinnati Bengals. Mm-hmm. So, until you dethrone the king, I mean, prove me wrong. Joe Burrow, top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Joe Mixon, top 10 running back in the NFL. Just drafted Chase Brown to back him up, who's also electric. I've telling you guys right now, go buy him if you can or draft him if you can, because this one's going to pay off for you. Then you got top 2 wide receiver in the NFL and Jamar Chase. Right behind him, another possible top 10 wide receiver in T. Higgins. Could be a number 1 wide receiver anywhere in the league on any other team, without a doubt. Tyler Boyd there. Guys, they did great. Let's go down and see who they got now at tight end. The one that I was screaming them for to get in the draft, they didn't. But they got Irv Smith Jr., bringing back Drew Sample. Irv Smith might come up. He might. I mean, I'm not saying go buy him and get all crazy, but it definitely doesn't hurt him having a top 3 quarterback thrown to him in the league. There's a big difference between Kirk Cousins and Joe Burrow. So might be one you want to acquire there at the end of the year, or if you're competing and need tight end help. Let's go down to their defense.
Huge difference.
Yeah, huge difference. So, so we're going to run down here to the defense. I'll scan through this real quick, and we will. Sam Hubbard. Sam Hubbard is one of my favorite defensive linemen in the whole NFL. This guy's got a motor through the roof, man. Trey Hendrickson's coming back. Myles Murphy was drafted. I mean, look at this defensive line. This is why they are who the Bengals are, and they're on top, because they retool. Logan Wilson's all right. For me, though, really not too crazy about their linebackers. Jordan Battle was one that snuck in there for me on the defense. Glad Eli Apple's gone. Am I correct? Eli Apple.
I believe, yeah, I think he's gone.
Okay. I think that's why they were losing so much, because they kept putting so much faith in Eli Apple. I think he really put a damper on that defensive back. He would talk a lot of shit, but he wouldn't back it up. So, glad Eli's out of there. Big loss in Jesse Bates. He ended up going to the Falcons, but we'll see how this ends up. But for me, number one for AFC North is your Cincinnati Bengals. It ain't changing.
No, I completely agree. I think the Bengals are the I think unless they lose this season, they have to be dethroned before we can not crown him. Especially with Joe Burrow, just another year under his belt, getting better. Lamar Chase. I think their defense, even though they lost key contributors, when you get Jordan Battle out of Alabama, I think he was maybe second or third safety in this year's draft. I think Logan Wilson is one of the best coverage linebackers in the NFL. And like you said, the defensive line is scary. Sam Hubbard, Trey Hendricks, and Myles Murphy, kind of coming in spots here and there as a rookie at least. Definitely extremely talented. They're built to win, and they're built to put pressure back. So for me, 100%. One player you didn't mention, which I really, really like, and I know it's kind of crowded, but I really, really, really like Charlie Jones. He is a smaller wide receiver. Obviously, he's a little bit older. He is so good. He's always at the right place at the right time, even though he's on the small side. Very good contested catch wide receiver. Didn't run a blazing 40, but he is fast. Obviously, he's kind of buried a little bit, but they do go a lot of 3-4 wide, so he may get a chance to really be a contributor and keep going here. But I think for sure the Bengals are going to be number one in the division for sure.
We can both agree on that one. That's obvious for me. The AFC North, I want to see Burrow and Mahomes go at it again. I can't wait for that to happen. I don't know if they play this year, but hopefully that happens. But yeah, guys, our AFC North rankings are here for you to view. Hopefully you agree. If not, comment. Let us know how it goes. And as always, baby, Dynasty Football out!